Hello my lovelies and welcome to Sondering Tarot. We're going to go ahead and play with the Earth, Moon, and Shadow Oracle. And we're going to walk through this deck a little bit. It's going to be more of a deep dive versus a quick flip through. I will be giving commentary. So we're going to see how this goes because I'm excited to play with this deck. And I got to show you the artwork before I play with this deck. I want to play with this deck. That's all I can say. I want to play with this deck. And for those of you who are always interested in what crystals I put on a deck, my ancestors called for this piece of blue kyanite as soon as I received this deck, so it instantly went on it. This is not a requirement of the deck, it's just what they called for. So before we get into the actual deck, let's go over the guidebook. May this oracle gently embrace all those souls embarking on a self-healing journey. And may this guidebook provide the tools and prompts to explore the dark crevices of the shadow with love and purpose. So shall it be. Serefina Yeshe Mesa. And she does have her publication down at the bottom. Ruin Vervain is her store. Kat L. Amsel did the artwork, which I do love the artwork in this. This is a 2022 indie deck. It's from Kickstarter. We do have a nice table of contents. As you can see, very in-depth acknowledgements. This is basically a definition of what shadow work is and whether or not you're ready for it. Like it says, there is trigger warning here in the preface. Personal story from the artist. As well. So here's the definition of shadow work. Refers to gently working with the unconscious mind to integrate the shadowy parts of ourselves that we have hidden away from our conscious lives. So in other words, exploring everything that's hidden. Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual consciousness life, the blacker and denser it is. Carl Jung. I actually really do love this quote. So she does go into cleansing before you actually use this deck. Steps of, stay hydrated, clear your aura, do some grounding exercises, whatever, set up a circle, banish negativity, everyday practices that we normally do. And then she reminds you to do that after you use the deck because it is for shadow work. She does go into cleansing and connecting, blessing the deck, which is always awesome. All right, and then here's the interesting part. Trigger and transformation cards. She goes into the definition of what a trigger card would be and then what a transformation card would be. So, the light and dark side. Card spreads. Very, very nice to have these, and I do believe these that are in the guidebook are also on a little card inside the deck. By the way, I will show you that when I get to the deck, but props for doing that, so you don't have to use the guidebook. And let's face it, the guidebook in this one does not fit in the box. So to have the spreads already on cards and with the rest of the deck is really nice. It makes it easier to travel. And for anyone who wants to take this idea and run with it, to make cards of nothing but spreads, have an entire deck of nothing but cards that have spreads and positions and what they are, what you need to draw, would be an awesome thing to have. So there you go, FYI from me. Please, somebody do that before I actually have to put energy in and do it myself. Cards, you do get a depiction of the card. The title that's on it, as above, so below, duality, balance, and flow. That's what's actually on the card. You do get a quote. They will go ahead and give you conceptivity, description of the card, the artwork, etc. on it. There is purpose in there. And Most of these, I think, are two pages almost for a description on it, which is really nice. So instead of having a little blurb that's like half a page, you get a full page and then some on every single one of these. And if I remember right, every single card has 3 keywords on it besides the title, which I love. And I'm sorry for my dog because he's always got to make an entrance on every single video that I film. And for anyone who's wondering, there is the author, and then there is the artist. And what's also good about this guidebook is that they do include a glossary, so any keywords that you may not know that is used, she does define them, which is fabulous, especially if you are new to any of this. Let's get this out of here. We can bring the deck in. Nice sturdy 2-piece box. Everyone carries a shadow unless it is embodied in an individual's conscious life. The blacker and denser it is. The Carl Jung quote. 48 oracle cards. Just remember that the guidebook is bigger than the box, so it doesn't fit in. I wish it did, but I kind of like the guidebook being bigger. Here is the card backings, which is one of the things that I loved when I saw it on Kickstarter. She does include a card of authenticity. So instead of marking it on the box, she gave you an actual card. Mine was number 105 out of 750. This is the very first edition. It does have the date and edition printing. I love that being included. And let me split this off just real quick. These are the cards I was talking about. These are spread cards. So like this. The shadow revealed spread. What shadow am I hiding from myself? What from my past created this shadow? How can I best work with this shadow? I think I would find this very helpful to have in like all decks if people would start doing it. Attachment spread. My current progression. What attachment is actually blocking my progress? What is the underlying fear fueling this attachment? What are the actions or habits that trigger this fear? How can I work with this fear in order to release this blockage and grow? Working with difficult shadows. What is the source of this difficult shadow? Show me the hard truth about the shadow. How will clearing this shadow transform my life? How can I care and protect myself through this work? What is the next step towards integrating this painful shadow? Shadow integration. What aspect of the shadow do I need to confront and accept? What aspect of the shadow needs my forgiveness? What attachments and habits surrounding this shadow need to be released? What wisdom does this shadow provide that needs to be acknowledged? How can I show this shadow the compassion and understanding it needs? Where can I turn to for help with this shadow when needed? Now see, if I had an entire deck of nothing but spreads like this over any given subject where I could just literally pull a spread to use, and that's all that the deck was, I would love it to death. So please, somebody, for the love of God, do that. Alright, which brings us into doing the actual deck. And I think I'm going to bring you guys in closer. So excuse my zooming as we flip through this and give commentary. Okay, here we go. As above, so below. Duality, balance, and flow. And I'm going to have to use a pen probably to point, so pardon me because I don't have a wand in this room. I love the Tree of Life symbolism. You got the moon, the earth, and the sun. So branches above, roots below. You definitely have the duality, the light and dark, the symmetry of the balance. I like the card as far as that, plus the coloring. Snow Moon, rest, recovery, planning. This card reminds me so much of, you know, the falling snow in the wintertime. There's that certain quietness that there always is. I think this is one of my favorite cards. It's actually got quite a lot of color, but it's not in your face bright. Spirit and matter, paradox, between realms, equilibrium. So you got all these planets, and of course this tree growing up out of a planet, so it kind of looks like a broken egg. And you see all this space in between, this ether, with a crow flying in between. The space between spaces. I really love this card. So I props to the artist on that one. I love the artwork. Spring Rain, cleansing, renewal, metamorphosis. So for a transformation, for a death card, having a butterfly coming out of their cocoon, very appropriate. You got the lightning bolt that you usually see on the tower, which towers are transformation, they're breaking down. So I love this, as well as the rain to represent cleansing. It's a culmination of several different things that works very well for me. Summer Fire, passion, creativity, and desire. I have to say, this card just feels warm to me. All the bright light. Chameleon, adaptability, shape-shifting, conformity. There's quite a lot of color, and there actually is, if you can see it over here in the corner, it starts out red and goes into purple. There is a little bit of a chakra reference here in the feathers. Another transformation card, slightly different, but I like that. And there's always the, you know, learning to look before you leap, so learning to walk before you fly in this case. And Chameleon, she's wearing a mask, so changing feathers, how we present ourselves. And I do like the background. Hatchling, innocence, inner child, curiosity. Totally reminds me of the Fool card, to be honest. A lot of other decks will do just an egg when it comes to ideas, seeds, beginning of things, new beginnings. So that's a slightly different take. And then of course there's the drop. If the hatchling falls out of the nest, there's the drop there. So there's a lot of different ways you can interpret that. The lotus, the past, transcendence, evolution. I actually really, really love this. And there is, of course, chakra reference in this. I will bring it in closer for you. So you have your chakra here. It doesn't have every single chakra color in the card, which I kind of want more. But you do have the third eye highlighted here. I like the touch with the lotus, so I'm not surprised they called it the lotus. The nest, spiritual hearth, comfort, and well-being. This just feels like earth magic to me. Harvest time. There's actually quite a bit of color in that card too. It's nice. The Pathfinder, intelligence, keen insight, premonition. This reminds me more of the High Priestess. It's especially with what we have over here, over the third eye. I have what looks like feathers tattooed on her, and then they come out behind. Probably have to bring this in closer to you to see it. But it looks like she has tattoos on her, and then they come up here to span behind her. That's an interesting one. The Scavenger, desperation, scarcity, waning. I really love this because they've actually depicted a bird on this one. And there is the reference, of course, to death with all the bones. Gotta love also any Edgar Allan Poe reference as far as I'm concerned. The white oak, healing, versatility, endurance. Oak is actually one of the strongest woods you will ever find. So it is resilient and enduring at all costs. So I applaud their choice. And you do see, kind of like with the as above so below, you do kind of have the curling of the roots. It almost looks like a snail shell. The Witching Hour, Spirit Work, Mystery, the Unknown. I actually really like this card just because it is completely witchy. I suppose it's kind of a cross between the Moon card and Temperance. Maybe a little bit of the Magician, Alchemy. I would love to actually read up probably in the guidebook about that card, because I imagine there is more she puts in on that card as far as description, because there is antlers, which, you know, what is it, 3 and 4 a.m. That's usually consistently the witching hour, or midnight and 1, depending on who you ask. Still, pretty nice. Third Eye Blind. Well, that's definitely a song stuck in my head. Ignoring intuition, self-doubt. Okay, so this is one of the cards that actually only has two keywords down here. I suppose they could have put like chakra blockage or something to that effect for a third one. Third Eye Blind. I still like how this is depicted anyway, because you have your higher self, looks like depicted up here. Maybe it's your spirit guides, ancestors, etc. above you, above your crown chakra. And then you have this hand partially blocking what is your third eye. And actually with the scarf going around, it's also blocking your mouth. So there's also the throat chakra being blocked as well. So communication not being free moving. Thunder and lightning, painful realization, inner conflict. Looks like a tower card, definitely, as she describes, a trigger card. And I love that instead of having all this out here, I love how there's blue sky on the outside, and then all the darkness is actually inside the silhouette of the person. So, inner conflict, indeed. Treachery, betrayal, mistrust, deception. I appreciate the use of the birds on this one, just because it looks somewhat nefarious, kind of like the Dark of Night. Underworld, the Shadow Realm, reincarnation. I suppose maybe this card might be a turnoff for some, just because of all the dark color and the skulls. I'm a Scorpio, so I really don't care. I'm comfortable with blood and gore and darkness. It's totally fine. And I apologize, my dog was barking. I had to stop the video. So let's try this again. Winding roots, ancestral connection, earthly wisdom. You always hear that saying, getting back to your roots. I can actually appreciate this card, including all the color. It's not overly bright, but that earth energy is still there. Gotta love how you see the tree. Winter's bone, reflection, transformation, rebirth. This just looks, I'm sorry, just looks dark. It looks cold. Barren is definitely a word that comes to mind. I mean, there's a little bit of gray throughout here, but mostly this is all black and white. It's totally a dark night winter scene. Winter's Bone, I think, is a good name to use for it, for a title. Wolf Moon, restoration, incubation, and growth. I actually kind of love how they did the wolf. There's a lot of detail, and there's even a lot of coloring in it, but it's done really well. Even the one howling at the moon. Like I said, props to the artist. And there goes my dog again. I just had somebody leave my house and my dog is upset, so sorry. Eye of Odin, sacrifice, knowledge, new perspective. To be honest, this reminds me of the hangman. Technically, I suppose part of a man is hanging with the eyeball in the bird's mouth. I know some of you may not be comfortable with this card just for that. Of course, this is the same card that is on the box and the guidebook. It's a familiar image. And sacrifice, so sometimes you are physically losing pieces of yourself. That is significant. And then, of course, you have the full moon in the back, which usually highlights and reveals things. So I can appreciate the aesthetic either way. Bleeding heart, rawness, vulnerability, compassion. Like I said, some of this deck, some people might find unsettling, including this one, just because we're drawing organs on the outside of the body. There's a lot of red in that card. And there is a very detailed face as well. This is another one of my favorite cards. Blood Moon, beginnings, endings, clean slates. I love the coloring in this. I love reds and blacks together. Sorry, I'm a Scorpio. It's just kind of goes without saying. So, good aesthetics, good coloring. And because it's beginning, endings, clean slates, that new beginning, I would actually attribute this card as the death card, which as a Scorpio, death card is my card in the tarot. Makes perfect sense to me. Blue Moon, opportunities, divine power, clarity. Okay, we have to give props where props is due. Can we appreciate, just for a sec, I'm going to lift this up so you can see it closer. Can we appreciate the ethnicity and the body diversity that you see in this card? I also love the use of the blue. I mean, it's not all one solid blue. There's enough variation that even though the card is mostly blue, it is very wonderful. I love it. And this reminds me of, sorry, I should probably use this. This reminds me of asking the moon for clarity, you know, calling on that divine power from the moon. I love it very much. Cold Moon, stillness, abundance, withdraw. Once again, this reminds me of that snowing in wintertime when everything is silent. What's even better is they have the Aurora Borealis going through this card. I live in the Pacific Northwest, and every time the Aurora Borealis comes far enough south that we could see it, it's usually a cloudy night, and I never get to see it. That's one of those ooh and ah things that I would really, really love to actually see in real life, to gaze at it in that stillness and just be in awe. And that's what this card reminds me of. I don't know, maybe one day I'll get to see it. Death Valley, emptiness, hopelessness, challenges. Once again, a barren landscape. Death Valley, not exactly the funnest place to be, been there before. And you gotta appreciate the use of the skeletons that you see here and there in the background. Earthing, grounding, centering, connection. I actually kind of like this because now I know everybody has their opinions on nudity. Nudity in the tarot usually means vulnerability. In this case, being open, being vulnerable, being able to receive. So the nakedness actually is something I value in this card, the way it's depicted. And once again, can we appreciate the difference in body image from the Blue Moon card that we saw earlier? Hidden paths, awareness, mindfulness, self-mastery. Okay. Looks like a lake or something with lotuses all scattered around a path, and then you have a portal here with a full moon above. So things being revealed, things coming to light, things becoming available. Yeah, even right now I keep getting drawn back to this portal. There's always that unknown on the other side of portals. Portals are usually opportunities. So yeah, that card can go a lot of places in readings. That's a fun one. Inner guardian, protection, defense, refuge. All right. First thing I notice is the shield. And of course, this whole card looks like a sigil, a coat of arms. And I do appreciate the artist's use of the green behind it, so you kind of get this outline to make it brighter. It's kind of like it's backlit, it's more noticeable. Karmic web, troubles, misfortune, amends. Yes, kind of 9 of swords and 8 of swords energy, a little bit with the judgment in reverse. As much as you have ups, you have downs. And this kind of speaks to rock bottom just with the pose. I like it. Kindred spirits, rewilding, true nature, self-love. So animal energy, big animal energy. And yes, nudity, more nudity. Being open for connection. And you gotta love the detail on the bird. If I can get my camera to refocus. There we go. Or even with the wolf, there is good artistic ability going through. And I apologize for my dog. I'm probably gonna have to stop the video real quick. All right, sorry for the interruption. It's holiday season, packages were delivered, and my dog lost his ever-loving mind. But anyway, I'm back, so let's continue. Luna, manifestations, visions, attraction, yes, embodiment of moon energy, moon goddess energy. I love it. And I appreciate the flowers as well. Kind of looks like Morning glories? But that's not right. It'd be something that blooms in moonlight. I know what that flower is, but it escapes me right now. I probably think of it when it's no longer relevant. Anyway, let's keep on moving. Lunar eclipse, spiritual changes, internal evolution. I gotta love the mimicking of the Luna moth here, and then the shadow of the Luna moth on the red moon. Changes, transformation, evolution. I mean, butterflies are usually symbolic of that, but I appreciate the use of the Luna moth on that and the color choice. Memory and mind, guidance, analysis, and application. Ooh. Ooh. I kind of like it. Changing your perspective. So analysis, guidance, and also doors opening. We have, I'm going to have to pick this up so you can see it better, because we have the eyeball here, but we also have a key right here. So I love the key symbology added into this. Artistically, I do like the aesthetic of the background. So we have the green highlighting the key over here, the green highlighting the eye, detail on the birds, different backdrop, nice coloration. Mischief and mayhem. In other words, I solemnly swear I am up to no good. Freedom, surrender, abandon. Midsummer Night's Dream. I don't know why this reminds me of that, but that's what it reminds me of, besides Harry Potter for the Mischief and Mayhem. Dancing underneath the moonlight around a bonfire. Yeah. I like it. Okay. I have to say this is probably one of my favorite full moon cards with just a plain old backdrop. So we got the full moon, and then we have the ocean waves around it. Ocean tides, individuality, strength, and formlessness. A lot of people think that water is soft, that it is weak, but no, water is actually strong. It takes on the form of any container, in other words, formless. It's also something that will erode other objects to make way. It may be very slow at it, but even solid rock will lose against water, which means it's a lot stronger than what you think. Water, the element of water, represents spirituality, dreams, and emotions, so that ties into the individuality. So I love this full moon on the ocean waves, reflecting on the ocean waves. That actually really speaks to me. Moon phases. Okay, phases of the moon. Impertinence, enlightenment, cycles. A lot of decks have cycle cards. I do like the different phases, but instead of it being this way across, we have it up and down, and the last half is basically a reflection into the ocean. So aesthetically, that is something different. So we have a little bit different coloration, different approach to it. Appreciate it. Poisons and toxins, fear, negative thoughts, self-loathing. Well, that's one heck of a trigger card. And probably one I will end up pulling from this deck myself, because it says negative thoughts, and that is truly correct. You have eyes all over the place, like there's watchers, and you see her reflection, so her inner world versus her outer world. I appreciate the symbolism of this and the fact that you see broken pieces. So even though we are strong on the outside, sometimes we are broken on the inside, and sometimes we are the one that breaks ourselves. It's that self-sabotage aspect. Predator and prey, chasing, grasping, obsession. Okay, so devil energy. I can totally see why it's predator and prey, how we get that symbolism. What do you chase after? What do you obsess over? What are you constantly reaching for that you don't currently have? It's that wants versus need. Again, I do like the coloration instead of just having a solid background. There is variance in color with the lightning, so you get shadows. I really love the artist. Prophecies, revelations, insight, messages. Okay, a lot of symbolism in this one because we have a crow, and I'm gonna have to bring it in closer. Crow on a pile of bones, right down here. And this bird's actually singing, so sending messages. You have notes, song, voice chakra, also a tree growing. In other words, seeds that have been planted sprouting. Yeah. Interesting. Raven and wolf, symbiosis, combined effort, alliance. When I think of a symbiotic relationship, I wouldn't think about ravens and wolves and how they impact each other on the ecosystem. But this totally works. And once again, for the artist, I do appreciate the detail on the wolves. Rising sun, hope, courage, optimism. Sadly, there is no red in this card. I would love it if there was all 7 chakras represented in this card. Because we have pinks, we have yellows, we have almost a hint of orange on the very edge. It's like the start of it, but not quite. And you have 2 different shades of blue, you have the purples, but there's no red in this card. I'd love it if there was, just to have the chakra interpretation. And once again, we have a lotus. It's a really pretty card. Just me nitpicking that there's no chakra, full chakra representation. Would really love it if it did. Alright, sacred law, rituals, boundaries, practice. So, along with the witching hour, this is another bang on point witch card. Quote unquote witch card. The Wiccan Reed. How do you manifest? What are you doing? Patterns, beliefs, yes, practice. Have you used what you've learned? Once again, I have to point out detail because we do have what appears to be a wheel here, but if you look very closely and get it to focus, there is a yin-yang in here. So you have masculine and feminine and opposites represented as well. Looks like there's a sigil on the book, crescent moon on the potion bottle, and I do love the color detail. You see it all in this bark. Sacred mountain, ancestors, endurance, resilience. I appreciate what looks like to be a medicine wheel in the background. And of course, overcoming obstacles, mountain, endurance, resilience. Not surprised that that is there. Gotta love the symbology. A lot of color on that one. I'll show a little bit closer so you can see it. Setting sun, depression, habits, suffering. Okay, we had a rising sun, so of course we have to have a setting sun, the opposite ends of the spectrum. Again, artistically, I love the fact that we have the setting sun actually in the person's silhouette. So you have the outer and the inner perspective. Shadow and light, demons, shadow self, integration. Ooh. And this demon, and I'm actually going to pick this card up and show you so you can see it better, resembles more of a wolf. And she just looks like she's drinking morning coffee. She's all happy. She's all serene. And then there's that shadow self. So anything that lingers that you're not paying attention to is literally always right there and can show itself at any moment. I kind of like that. I also like the use of the purple for choice of color. Autumn winds, new past, changes, unseen forces. Gotta love the wind vane with our compass as a tattoo, as well as the Pocahontas colors of the wind reference here, whether that is purely intentional or not. I still love it, so props to the creator. There's color, but it's not overly done to where it's bright. It's subtle, but still well done. I love it. Awakening, epiphany, enlightenment, higher calling. Again, we have lotus, and I like that they use it again here as a tattoo. And then you see petals coming off, being released. So awakening process, it happens in steps. It's not just instant thing. It's kind of gradual, and you will leave pieces behind. And you do have, you know, the lighter side up here, and then you have darkness down here. It's not all or one thing. There is darkness to light and back and forth. I kind of like that because you can also use this card as awakening and dark night of the soul as well. And that is actually our very last card. So yes, I kind of maybe have just a very slight, you know, crush on the artist. Yeah, I still love that card. Very detailed. I think I saw maybe 5 cards of this deck on Kickstarter and backed it. I loved it so much, and I think at that point a lot of the artwork still wasn't done. So I am really pleased with this deck. Really wanted to do this just so I could start using this deck so I didn't have to put it back in order again. So for those of you that actually ordered this deck and have a copy, go ahead and tell me, how do you use this deck? Do you like it? What does the energy feel like? I know there is some light cards and there's some dark cards in here, which is one of the reasons why I loved it. It's a shadow deck and you need both aspects. Or as Serefina calls it, you have trigger cards and transformation cards. And I just think this is fabulous. So tell me what you guys think of this deck. And please feel free to like, share, and subscribe the video. And if there's any other decks that I've done flip throughs or any other decks that you want me to acquire and do commentary like this as kind of a deep dive, please let me know. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys later. Bye.